Good people, good people, good people. Welcome back to the Gumptown Podcast, episode 196. I'm Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving it a shot. Today's guest is the founder and owner of Cake Island. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm sure we'll all be inspired by her story. Let's chop it up with Shemiah Lucas. Shemiah, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm glad to hear that, and all is well on my end too. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, I'm definitely excited to share my story and get my business out there more. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Of course, we're here to talk about all the great things you got going on in business with Cake Island. But before we talk business, let's get to know the woman behind the brand. Originally born in Selma, Alabama. What was y'all bringing like in Selma?
It was very sheltered, I'll say. I was very introverted, so I just always enjoyed growing up with my siblings. I have two younger siblings, and I grew up in Dallas County more so. So my I say my formative years more so were in the country, not really the country, but Valley Green area. So we lived near horses and stuff like that, but I still did have my family roots in downtown Selma. And so it was a great upbringing, I say, being in touch with just having that family nearby and also being able to I'm sorry, sir.
No worries.
But being able to just have that great upbringing.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Sounds good. And Selma's a beautiful city with a lot of history, and it sounds like you had a great tight knit village around when you were growing up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sounds good. I know offline you were telling me you were in Selma and then you moved to Fayetteville, Georgia. So did you experience any culture shock moving from Selma to Fayetteville?
I definitely did because the people in Georgia are, I'm not gonna say they're rude, but they're like the northerners of the South more so. So they still have southern roots, but they are very progressive, I say. So coming from being sheltered, I'm Seventh Day Adventist. So we go to church on Saturday and it's just having those experiences and then coming to a city where people are just like, the hip hop culture and just not being able to kind of make those formative friendships with people being new and stuff. It was definitely a culture shock that I would say. But I did meet like I say four good people that I still talk to this day. And I do appreciate being able to go there and experience that because those are the things that mold you into the person that you are at the end of the day. The experiences that try you and are kind of like hard to navigate because you're new to it, you're in a new environment. So I do appreciate the experience nonetheless. But it was definitely difficult at first, especially with me being so shy and to myself.
Hmm. Yes, ma'am. I definitely can understand that. Appreciate you for sharing that and just hearing you talk about it. I mean, yeah, Georgia, yeah, it's hella bougie. So I get what you're saying. I mean, like you didn't say that, but that's what I interpreted. I mean, I get it. Moving
Yeah.
to Georgia, in Alabama, everybody speaks, and well, for the most part, people speak and they're nice and they're kind. And Georgia,
Yes. Even if they don't fool with you, they go speak. Now, Georgia, some of
yes, ma'am, no doubt. But that's good that you were able to adapt and adjust to the move and make a couple of friends, a few friends while you were there. And I know also you were saying you eventually made your way back to Mirrorbrook to finish up high school. So was it so coming back to Alabama, were you pretty excited about coming back to Alabama?
Not at all, because by the time we made it back to Alabama, I was in my sophomore year of high school. So I'm like, I finally like put down roots here. I'm enjoying it. I'm in high school. Like that's the wrong time to uproot somebody, but at the end of the day, I appreciate that. It was a blessing in disguise. Cause when we moved down here, I was able to kind of find the people that are meant for me, friend wise, and then also just being able to be close to family again. Because even though I wasn't the most social kid, I did appreciate having family around. And so it was not my favorite thing at first, but I eventually met my husband here. And so it worked out in the end. Like God knew what he was doing despite me not being happy with the move at first. And I do appreciate being home. Like it's nothing like home. I will say that.
Yes, ma'am. I definitely understand that. And to that point, like you said, being uprooted in high school, like just when you done found your groove, you done got comfortable, met a few folks, then you had to
Right. Back again.
had to make that move back to Alabama. But just hearing you, just how everything worked out, met your husband. So it was, so in the end, it was. it all ended up working out, moving back to Alabama. It sounds like.
Yes, it definitely did.
Okay, sounds good, awesome. And also, it's just like I said, just doing my due diligence, and I see you attended AUM. So, what was that college life experience like for you at AUM?
It was not the best. So if you could picture a very sheltered kid who it wasn't that being sheltered kept me from being social, but I just enjoyed being to myself. And then being thrust into an environment where I'm independent, quote unquote, and I'm making decisions on my own. It was very it wasn't the best thing to navigate because I didn't do well my first semester. Well, I did well my first semester, but I didn't do well the semester after that. And so it was kind of like a learning groove or a learning curve. And now I'm like kind of playing catch up, but I appreciate the experience of, having to navigate learning how to be an adult and stuff at the end of the day. But I do love AUM as a school, but I did not do well as far as adjusting to being on my own, trying to make friends, navigating school and keeping grades up. It was definitely a bit stressful, but and then they God brought me through it, and I'm back in school now. I took a gap year because I had my baby and stuff, so it was a bit chaotic in trials. It wasn't the typical college experience, but then I can appreciate that despite the challenges.
Okay, sounds good. And that's I appreciate you for sharing that. And I mean, salute to you for being back in school and for taking that break. Hey, you had to do what you had to do.
Yeah,
Bringing the baby into the world, that's a huge responsibility. So, but I definitely commend you for going back to school. And I mean, hey, take your time. Like, do it on your time. Don't feel like you're behind. I mean, hey, God's plan is greater than our plan all day, every day.
that is so true. That's so true. And that's honestly having my baby caused me to start my business because it helped me see that I needed to make something for myself when I couldn't, be have a normal schedule where I had to clock into a job. I had to be there for her. So that kind of God's push and then taking one of my favorite skills and interests and all of that combined together, started the birth of my business. So at the end of the day, I appreciate it, the way things lined up despite how it lined up.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, 1,000%. And speaking of the business, that's what we're here to talk about mainly. So let's get into it. And I'm big into brand name Shemaya, and I'm always intrigued what sparked somebody to come up with a brand name. So I got to ask you, what inspires you to name your company Cake Island?
Okay, so me and my husband are big anime fans. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but we love he specifically loves Dragon Ball, Naruto, and One Piece. And so there is a season or an arc in One Piece where they go to a village called Cake Island and it's dessert theme. And I was like trying to come up with something catchy. And he was just throwing stuff at me. And I was like, oh, that does sound good. And I can kind of play on it because that's not something you typically hear when you think of a baking business. You think of like treats by or sweets by, something, kind of in that theme. So I was like, I like it. It's abstract and it still gets the point across. And we went with it.
I like that. I mean, that's very organic how y'all came up with the name, and that's no, that's dope. I mean, I'm not into anime, but I know it's a big deal. And I mean, listen, I don't judge. I was so far behind like Dragon Ball Z and all that. Like
Ah,
I didn't watch that growing up, so in adulthood, I kind of just consider, you know what? I know anime is a big deal, and I know people watch it, but no, that's solid that y'all were able to draw inspiration from that. And you're right, Cake Island is very unique because most of the time, a dessert business, like you said, it have those typical names, which are
hmm,
cool as well. But Cake Island, like Cake Island, like they got a little tropical. It's just catchy, you know.
yeah, I definitely agree.
Yes, ma'am. So that's no, that's dope. And I know you were saying that baking was one of your loves. So when did you discover you had this gift of baking?
Uh, I would say when I was younger, I loved to make red velvet cakes for family gatherings. And I'm like, I'm just doing it because I enjoy it. And so that having that interest always, I just love to try new things, especially at family gatherings, because you get people's honest opinions. So I've learned that baking is more so my niche than cooking, and I just have leaned into it. So, so
Okay.
that's where it definitely comes from.
Okay. Now you just said something very key. Red velvet. We don't play by that in the South. Like that's a delicacy. So the fact that you was
Yes,
baking red velvet for the family, like you've been legit for a long time, Shemaya. That's what it sounds
yes.
like to me.
And I
Okay.
didn't realize that to adulthood. I'm like, it's red velvet cake is a cake, but people love red velvet cake in the South.
Oh,
I
no
will
doubt.
say that.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a delicacy, and you gotta. It's like it's one of those things that if you don't get it right, your family gonna be the first people to tell you.
Exactly. They gonna be brutally honest.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So, what year exactly did you launch the business?
So I launched it in 2022. It was May of 2022, and my daughter was going to be a year that following month. And so I was like, I just was kind of in a wreck because I'm like, I can't keep a job now because I was a stay at home mom, breastfeeding full time, and you know how demanding that can be. So it's like I can't get a regular job with this going on. And so I was like, just thinking, contemplating. I was like, I can come up with a business. And honestly, before I thought of baking, I was thinking of opening up like a smoothie business because I'm like, it's hot outside. People like drinks. And I couldn't really, things were working out with that. And so I was like, let me go back to the drawing board. And that's where I came up with baking. The Lord reminded me of like, you enjoy this and you can turn it into a passion and, make money from it. And so I went with that. And I did really well that first year, and me and my husband planned to get married and get a place, and so it wasn't substantial at the time. So I kind of drifted off from it, and then but I'm getting ahead of myself. But that's
No, no
where
worries.
that's how it launched. I'll say that.
Okay, no, you definitely getting ahead of yourself. Like you telling your story, you flowing, you vibing. Hey, I'm not gonna cut you off. I appreciate you for sharing that story, and that's great that you launched the business in 2022, and I mean, been rocking and rolling, been in business this long, and I know you were saying like you had took a break from the business, take care of some stuff, and I mean that's life. I mean it is what it is. Like no worries, no judgment, and that's great that you so during that time where you kind of stepped away from the business, did you know that you were going to come back and resume, or like
I
what were your
did
thoughts?
not know because having a business is not as easy as it seems at first. That is what I had come to realize. I'm like, this is like having another baby. Not literally, but it's like it takes time and attention and dedication and attentiveness. And so I'm like, I can't do that right now. And so I was like, I'm just leave it alone. I'm not getting a clientele that I want consistently enough, so I just left it alone. And then I was back in that same position this year, or yeah, this year. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had my second baby, and I was like, okay, maybe I can lean into this, Lord, because I just need something that I can do while I'm in school. I want to take this seriously, and I need something that I can do while navigating being a mom, wife, student, and everything else. And so I did a relaunch, and the feedback was great, and I'm kind of lean into where I've gotten a baking favorite from my customers. So I'm like, if something works, don't fix it. So that's been my go-to recipe that I've been making these days is cinnamon rolls. I didn't realize how much people love them, but they do, and they go a long way because they're very filling. And so that's what's been the thing that's been helping me sell right along since the relaunch is having cinnamon rolls, and I did not expect that, but it's working out, and I'm not gonna question it at all. So that's where things are currently.
Okay, and that's great that you were able to come back and relaunch the business, and I mean just paying attention to what your customers liked and what they were requesting, and just being willing to bring the cinnamon rolls on board. And I mean, hey, like you said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And yes, cinnamon rolls one of them ones too. It's like I mean, like you definitely legit now. Hey, if the customers call for cinnamon rolls, hey, Cake Island cooking up some good stuff over there. So I appreciate you
Yes,
for sharing
sir.
that. Yes, ma'am. So whenever I have entrepreneurs on the platform like yourself, I like to talk about three things: the aha moment, action, and audacity. I know you pretty much already covered your aha moment, like what inspired you to want to start the business
Hmm.
for your kids, and just wanting to lead. Like sounds like the aha moment was just legacy. Like that was the end goal, creating something for your kids. Is that accurate or am I off?
I would say so because it's something that I can share with them. And even my 2-year-old, she loves to be in the kitchen with me. So it works out to where I can teach her something. And, we're creating memories while I'm also investing in myself and my future as well. So I definitely can agree with that.
Okay, yes, ma'am. And the action portion. So from the time you and your husband figured out a name, Cake Island, from watching anime, how long did it take you to actually file it with the Secretary of State and get all the business stuff situated?
I say it took me 2 weeks, and it took me that short amount of time because my dad is a business owner and he's very entrepreneurial. He has a very big entrepreneurial mindset, and he invested in me, and my family invested in me. My mom, she was getting coworkers to spread the word, getting me orders. My family was, supporting me, and that's what I feel like helped me stay consistent because sometimes I can admit I'm a procrastinator, and like if something's not going well, I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. I don't see where this is going, but they really pushed me and they really supported me. And then my dad, he was like, if you make some cookies, I'll pay for the shipping so you can send them to Keith Lee and stuff like that. So he's like always trying to support me as much as he can. Then my husband, he was making sure that I had all of the materials, like boxes and stuff, to make sure like I had what I needed because I didn't have an income, but I had the support to keep it going. So my dad got me my EIN number, told me what I need to do. I did all the research outside of what he knew since he doesn't have much experience with like food based businesses. But as far as my LLC and stuff, he made sure I was on top of it. So that was the action part, just having that support from the people who love me and cared about me.
Yes, ma'am. That's powerful stuff. And hey, teamwork makes the dream work. And it's also one of those cliches we hear all the time. It takes a village, but we only hear it in the context of children. But it takes a village at all levels in life. And it just sounds like your village pulled together, supported you, helped you get things off the ground and rocking and rolling.
Yes, sir. That definitely was what it was. I couldn't have done it without him. I will say that.
Yes, ma'am. And the last portion, audacity, is one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to put action behind the idea. But to put it out to the world, to be praised or criticized, that's where the audacity comes in. And just hearing you talk about your village and what you wanted to leave behind for your kids, it sounds like you gave yourself that audacity to put it out to the world.
Yeah, and it was definitely God working in the midst of that because I am an introvert to the core. And I always have struggled with caring about what people think about everything I do. And so my husband's been really huge on getting me away from that. And I've been working on it. So it definitely was out of the norm for me to put something out like that has my name on it, my reputation on the line. But I knew that this is something that I wanted to at least try because you can't live life caring about what people think in the sense where it's like it puts you in fear of doing the things you need to do or you want to do. And so that's where that audacity came from. I will say that.
Yes, ma'am, and that's powerful, and that's spot on in terms of not really caring what people think. And one of the things I've learned over time, and just as I've gotten old, is a lot of times the only person that's really criticizing us is us. Like nobody's really thinking about us as much as we think they are. Like a lot of times
Yeah.
we be in our own head, Shemai. Like, oh, somebody's gonna say it is. I'm like, nobody has said that. Like, it's just our imagination will take us down a rabbit hole, and
Yes.
we'll make up these stories with no evidence to support them. You know.
That is so true. My husband says it all the time. He's like, no people don't care as much as you think they do. And it sounds harsh, but it's true. I've come to realize it's true. Like it's really your fears materializing to the point where they have put you in this position where you think people are watching you and it's really not that. So we definitely have to take time to reassess stuff like that so that we know that we are grounded and we are not allowing fear to keep us in a box or to keep us kind of just stuck and stationary.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. And to that point of it sounding harsh that people aren't thinking about you. I mean, it definitely sounds harsh, but the perspective that I've gained from that over the years is just the reason why people aren't thinking about you is because they have their own problems, their own issues that they're dealing with.
Hmm.
So it's I mean, it's just food for thought. But that's great that you had the audacity, you had the family around you, of course, God guiding your footsteps, just having that audacity to put it out to the world. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. So I know you've already said one of your best sellers, cinnamon rolls. So like aside from cinnamon rolls, like what are some of your best sellers?
Banana pudding. That is still shocking to me that people love it as much as they do because I'm like, it's banana pudding. Like, it's not my favorite, but people love banana pudding. Every time I do a pop up, that's what's selling out, and I'm like, okay, I just have to plan to bring like a whole cooler full of banana pudding at this point because I never have enough. And I will say my Cookie Monster cookies. And my birthday cake cookies. Now that's my favorite because I love anything that's birthday cake flavored, and so people really like it. And I understand because it's like a rich buttery cookie. So I definitely understand the hype about that one. But those are some of my best sellers. I will say that the cookies, the banana pudding, and the cinnamon rolls, and that's a new revelation because I was just trying out something different. I'm like, I'm tired of making cookies, and the quantity, the time it took to make cookie and cookie dough was not matching the money. Essentially, the time was matching money. So I was like, let me go back to the drawing board and see what something I can do. And cinnamon rolls worked out, and I get the input that I want and the output that I need to keep going. So I do appreciate people supporting me at the end of the day, and taking a chance on my business because there's so many other people who are doing things that are better, but I know that I'm on that path as well. As long as I do what God needs me to do and follow his will, I know that I won't get off track as far as that.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep my eyes out for the next pop up because banana pudding. Yeah, banana pudding. One of them ones too now.
I definitely get that.
No, hey, no doubt. Like red velvet, banana pudding, cinnamon rolls. Yeah, you over there doing some amazing stuff. Like that's what I'm talking about. And those Cookie Monster cookies. Yeah, as I was looking at the Facebook page earlier, I did stumble across a picture of those. Yeah, those things look like they go crazy. I mean, in a great way.
Oh yeah, I definitely would just say I appreciate it
Yes,
because I
ma'am.
definitely try to deliver the best experience because I understand people work hard for their money, and you don't want to deliver less than at the end of the day.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. And so, with everything on your plate, you're a wife, mom, student, back in school, entrepreneur, with everything on your plate, Shemaya, like, what do you do to decompress and like get away from it all from time to time?
Uh, I will say I'm still trying to figure that out because people are on me about that. I have a hard time relaxing, but I do enjoy watching Grey's Anatomy and playing games. Like I'm a I'm not gonna say I'm a full on gamer, but I do enjoy playing Sims or like games like God of War. And that might sound crazy, but I do enjoy it. Like I just enjoy story based things and just being able to kind of immerse myself and stuff like that to kind of decompress. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's bad, but sometimes you need to just be able to sit with yourself. And I have a hard time doing that. So that's kind of my escape when I need to relax, is kind of existing in another space. So I will say that's my way of doing things. It may not be the best, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, no worries. And I mean, no judgment. I mean, I'm just glad that you have found some outlets, in gaming and watching Grey's Anatomy. I mean, that's what it's about, just finding those outlets to get away from it all. Because of course, social media and stuff has us believing this hustle culture and that we're supposed to grind all
Definitely.
day, no sleep. Nah, it don't work like that.
It does not.
You burn yourself out and run yourself in the ground trying to hustle all day. So that's that's great that you found those outlets and find those ways to get away from it all. That's what it's about. Just finding that.
Yes, sir. I definitely agree.
Yes, ma'am. So you've done great things with the business. I know great things are coming down the pipeline, which leads to my next portion, vision. What are some of your short term and long term goals you feel comfortable sharing?
So I'm going back to school at AUM, so I'm doing that. I'm switching my major from computer science, I'm sorry, to nursing because I just realized that I'm burnt out with tech. I've always done it, and it felt more of a chore. And with this newfound interest in healthcare, I am excited and about having an interest that's not tiring or mundane. I say, and tech isn't mundane, it's just I'm not the biggest fan of it anymore. So I'm doing that, and then I'm taking accelerated certification course to get my medical assistant certification, EKG technician, and phlebotomist technician. So that's what I've been doing currently while I'm baking, just trying to find a way to support my family while also expounding on making myself more of a just building my resume as far as who I am, because I don't want it to stop at I didn't finish school, so that's why I'm striving to. I'm going back and trying to do more, and that's not all that matters. But I know that goes far in this day and age. You have to have things under your belt and under your name and experiences to be able to make it and be where you want to be at the end of the day. And I want to be successful in my own right, and that's being able to provide for my family, enjoy time with my family, and not always being in that hustle work culture of, you gotta spend more time at your job than with your family and your interests. So that's what I'm working towards.
Okay, sounds good, and that's great that you were able to. It's great that you have that awareness that you wanted to make that switch from computer science over into the healthcare field, and that's amazing. I mean, because of course, tech is booming. It's a trending topic, and I mean, I've been in tech for 14 years myself, so I definitely understand what you're saying about tech being mundane, and I'm glad that you have that, like I said, like just having that awareness that you're ready to make that pivot. And I mean, just hearing your story, moving from Selma to Fayetteville back to Alabama, like you're no stranger to making changes and pivots. So I'm pretty sure this gonna work out perfectly for
I appreciate that. I definitely do.
you. Yes, ma'am. And as for the business, Cake Island, any long term and short term goals you feel comfortable sharing?
For the business, I say I'm just striving to keep my name out there, and I really want to expound on cake decorating. That's my next like mission as far as offering things and learning new skills as far as baking. I really want to do better cake decorating, so I've been out there trying to find classes, and that's not a huge thing out here where I am. So I'm like, I might have to be self taught. So I've been practicing here and there, but it definitely would help to have someone to guide me. So that's what I'm working towards now, just to be a cake decorator, live up to that cake part of the Cake Island name, because it just I definitely want to expound on that. I used to be a artist as a child in my teenage years. I enjoyed drawing, and I was very gifted in that aspect. So I'm like, it's not translating to the cake decorating part, but we working towards it. So that's my next big goal to offer cakes and be confident in them when I offer them, and not, like, oh, would they like this, or hesitant about it because I'm not to where I want to be as far as skill.
Okay, sounds good. And hey, I have no doubt you'll put in the work, make it happen, and master it, and be the one of the best cake decorators in the River region when it's all said and done.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. As we wrap up the podcast, I want to ask the $1 million question. I started this podcast because I wanted to highlight the greatness connected to the River region. Whether you were born here or lived here for a significant period of your life, be it college, military, or work, you living in the River region, operating in business. Shemaya, I want to ask you, what do you appreciate the most about doing business in the River region?
I say what I appreciate most is the support that you get from people in the river region, because despite not knowing who you are or what you're about, they're willing to take a chance on you. And that may be everywhere, but that's my experience. People who don't know me, who never met me, but they're willing to take the chance and try my business and support it and see what I have to offer, despite all of the other businesses in the river region that offer so much more. So I can appreciate people taking a chance on me out here.
Yes, ma'am. So, Shemaya, how can the people connect with you? What are your social media handles?
So on Facebook, my name is Cake Island. On Instagram, I'm Cake Island Cakery. And those are my two biggest platforms. I'm working on TikTok to make content more so show my process when I'm baking. But that's not up and running yet. But those are my main ones, Cake Island on Facebook and Cake Island Cakery on Instagram.
Too easy. And of course, I'll put all of that information in the description of the episode. Hey, Shemaya, thanks again for the conversation. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Good people, that concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. In the meantime, in between time, y'all know what to do. Be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Go.